Time has passed quickly, and of course the decision to retire has been really bittersweet. You know, I think, and I've always believed that we have a certain shelf life, if you will, in positions. And I woke up one morning and looked in the mirror, and it occurred to me that I had just had my 70th birthday, and I started questioning myself about, you know, the direction of my future and the future of the college. And I came to the realization that it's time. It's time for a change. It's time for me personally to have a change, and it's time for the college to have a change and change in direction. There are a lot of challenges on the forefront with higher education in our state. A lot of that, unfortunately, is driven by funding. And so there are going to be a lot of opportunities for institutions like Pearl River to take a look at a new operational model. And things are going to have to change so that we stay within the boundaries of the resources that we have. That's always been a difficult thing, both during my time as K-12 superintendent and as president of Pearl River during the last 17 years. You know, we've never had a wealth of resources that we could build on, and what we had to depend on was the quality of our people and the quality of our employees, the dedication of our employees to the task that was at hand. And I think that over the past 17 years, I think one of the accomplishments that I am most proud of is being able to achieve that goal of hiring the best people that we possibly could hire, identifying those folks, bringing them on board for the institution, and then helping them to understand the vision that we had for our institution, and then taking that vision and letting them run with it. So it's been a wonderful experience. There certainly have been challenging times. The days that we went through with Katrina, for example, which lasted a long time, and that's a story within itself. We've had lots of good times. Our students have succeeded on a national basis, and you know, in the classroom, their achievements have been significant. They've helped bring the college tremendous recognition, both on a statewide and a national level. I'm very proud of that. We've been very successful, for the most part, on the athletic fields. And one of the things that I'm most proud about is our fine arts arena, and what we've been able to accomplish through our Performing Arts Center, and of course the Brownstone Center that we were able to build has become kind of a landmark in this part of the state, and is bringing opportunities for people in the community that for a small rural community like we have here is pretty unique. And so there have been a lot of things that I think have been accomplishments, but the bottom line is we couldn't have done that without the benefit of having great people around us. And so we really feel good about that. The other thing that I feel good about is the evolving philosophy that has been developed here on at the college, on all of our campuses here in Poplarville and Hattiesburg and Waveland, and that is that you know, our students and the development of our students is first and foremost. And you know, that is not just in the classroom. We've tried to build an environment, and I think most of our people have bought into the idea of PRCC, pride, respect, class, and character. I think that's a great moniker for our institution. I wish that I had come up with that. I can't claim that, but I think that it's a great moniker for our institution and has served us well. And I see that model for our institution continuing to evolve in what we do on a daily basis here at the institution and what we're able to do for students. So I think that there have been a lot of accomplishments. There are a lot of things that I wish that we could have done, and that we, you know, in respect, it's like anything else in life. You look back and you make decisions at the time that seem like the appropriate decisions, but looking back, you would have done some things differently. So there are some things that we would have done differently, but overall, it's been a great experience. I've been able to work with great people and be around folks every day, and just being on campus has been a great experience. I think one of the most difficult things for me personally is going to be the fact that when I was growing up as a small child at 5 years old back in the 50s, my mother was worked, which a lot of ladies didn't at that time, but she worked. I grew up in Clinton, Mississippi, right outside of Jackson, and she worked in Jackson. So at 5 years of age, I was getting up, and she was carrying me at 7 o'clock in the morning to the early bird room at Clinton Elementary School. And so as I got older, I was still going to school at 7 o'clock in the morning, but playing ball and being in all kind of student activities and things like that, I'd be at the schoolhouse to 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. So that's been a way of life for me since I was 5 years old. And so the adjustment from doing what I'm doing today to not having to get up and go to the schoolhouse at 7 o'clock in the morning is going to be a real adjustment personally. But it's been a great experience. I don't know, and I've said this over and over again, I guess there are a lot of things that I could have done in life, but God led me down this trail, and I've been very, very pleased to have been a part of the education community in this state for a long, long time now. And it's just been a great experience for me. Well, you know, Katrina was such an unusual experience. I've said many times to a lot of my friends and a lot of groups that I've had the opportunity to speak to over the years, I've said that the experience with Katrina is one of those things they don't teach you in graduate school. It's one of the things that you have to learn on the fly, and you know, for a lot of us, it's a one-time experience, and trying to learn to manage the aftermath of a disaster like Katrina is a really unique experience, and it certainly was for me. It was a real challenge. When Katrina struck this campus in Poplarville primarily, of course our campus, our center, Hancock Center in Waveland, was only a few miles off the beach at Waveland, right at the center of where the eye came ashore, and suffered quite a bit of damage. Took us about 2 years to get back into that center and to be able to have a full array of class offerings down there. But we had only been open for 2 weeks. The semester was only 2 weeks old, and that was a brand new center for us. And so as the storm moved north, and the damage that it created on this campus was significant. We lost 5 buildings in the storm that had to be totally rebuilt. And that was quite a task. It took a long time to get a settlement. from our insurance company. And then it took several more years to get the final payout from FEMA to fully change the campus and make it whole again. But it's a real unique experience. 2 weeks after the storm, had two college presidents almost simultaneously call me from Florida. And both of them asked me similar questions. How are you doing? What does the campus look like? How can we help? And I had to say to them at that time, look, our insurance company has been in. They have told us that they're going to work with us, and we hope to get our buildings back, and we'll be back in a couple of years and things will be great. But we've got a lot of people here that are helping us, a lot of folks from the outside, and we appreciate your offer, but you know, we think we'll be fine in a short period of time. And both of them said the same thing to me. They had experienced Hurricanes Ivan and Dennis in their area of the country. And they both said the same thing. They said, no, let us tell you what's about to happen to you, and that it's going to take 6 to 10 years for everything to be complete and rebuilt. Well, I couldn't get my mind around that idea. 6 to 10 years is a long time, a whole decade to take us to recover from this. And I want you to keep in mind that one of the things that we had committed to from the very start, and that I had talked with our board about, was changing the landscape of our campus. And you know, trying to change the aesthetics of the way that our campus looked, to have attractive buildings, to have an attractive campus, to have a clean campus, free of litter. And so we spent a lot of time doing that, and all of a sudden, you know, the progress we had made in 3 or 4 years, all of a sudden that's just wiped out, particularly on this campus. And so that was kind of a bitter pill to swallow. But the silver lining in all of that is that 11 years after the storm, when we finally got through and got the final payments and everything was rebuilt, we had a much more beautiful campus with some new buildings and a very attractive campus. One of the things that we had put in place kind of as a moniker we could build on, we started talking years ago about trying to develop the most beautiful community college campus in the state. And I had visited some of the university campuses in our state, particularly at Ole Miss and Mississippi State, and saw the progress they had made with their campuses. And I just thought it was such a great educational and learning environment that you know, we wanted to try to create something similar here. And I think we've made some progress in that. We have a lot of compliments on our campus from visitors that come here. But we still have a long way to go. We have lots of challenges, and we have some older buildings that need a lot of tender love and care. And we're always planning for the future. The next building on this campus will be a new science building, about a $10 million structure, which will be one of the signature buildings on the campus. And the architect's already done the design and the rendering. It's a very beautiful facility, and in time, we're about halfway there now with our funding for that building. So it'll take us another year or two to find the funds to be able to construct the building. But Katrina made a huge difference to this institution. One of the things that I like to talk about is the aftermath of the storm. It took us 3 weeks in Hattiesburg to restart classes on our Hattiesburg campus. Took 5 weeks on the Poplarville campus. And during that time, it was of great concern as to how we were going to house our students and how many students we were going to lose on the Poplarville campus because we had severe damage to several of our student housing facilities. But what ended up happening, in fact, we were having phone calls from people after the storm who didn't have dorm rooms before the storm and saying, look, we've lost everything that we've got. We're living in the back of our vehicle, our cars, and can you help us? We need a dorm room for the rest of the year. And we were able to accomplish that and help nearly every person that called us. But what ended up happening was that we had to put 3 and 4 students in a dorm room that was built for 2 people. That caused some concerns, obviously, but what ended up happening, there was an esprit de corps that was built among our students and our employees, and we ended up having one of the best years, I think, in terms of closeness and being a close-knit family and supporting one another, and just a general wholesomeness to the campus that occurred during the 17 years I've been here. So there were some bright spots in Katrina. It really did a lot of damage here, but it helped create a new campus and a different look to the campus and really brought a lot of people and a lot of our students and our employees together. First of all, I've had the great fortune in my educational career, or my career in education, to have worked at every level of public education in this state. I've worked at the K-12 level. I've worked at the community college level, worked at the university level for a number of years, even ran a private organization for a period of time that provided business support, business and industry support for the improvement of public education in the state. One of the things that I will say to you is that I think that, and I've heard folks refer to this in the past, is that community colleges are the people's college. And I think that's very true. Our institutions serve a broad array of needs for the community. We educate people, obviously, in the classroom and help them along the way of obtaining an associate's degree, and those of our students that come in the academic arena and enroll in the academic arena, most of them will eventually matriculate and move into the university atmosphere. And then we have lots of folks who come in our career and technical programs that get a 2-year degree, an AAS degree, if you will, and they move right into the world of work, do very well for themselves. And then a third mission that our community colleges have taken on in the last decade or so has been in the area of workforce education, and developing the workforce and working to provide training and meeting the educational needs of the existing workforce that's in our state. So we've got a broad mission that we serve, and we've always been able to do, since the very inception, since the days that Pearl River Agricultural High School back in 1909 opened its doors, and several years later led to the first junior college, two-year institution of higher learning in the state. And since that very first day, the purpose was to, number one, serve the instructional needs that would provide for a workforce and provide for the needs of those folks who were moving from higher education into the workforce. But also to do it at a very economical pricing that people in our state could afford. And so we've been very proud of that in being able to say that we have been able to provide a quality education at a very low cost to the consumer. Now, the challenges that we've had in recent times is that the percentage of our state appropriations have fallen a great deal in the last decade. And we have had to rely on tuition increases for our students. We haven't felt good about that, but in order to operate the institution and to pay the daily expenses, we've had to rely on that. But we see so many examples of students who come from, maybe they're first generation college students, a lot of them, who come to these institutions, and these institutions provide them with guidance, support, certainly a knowledge base and a skills base that they can take out into the workforce, and that they can become productive citizens. We've had people that have come through this institution that have succeeded in life at the top levels of their profession, not only in our state, but in our country and internationally as well. And so Pearl River Community College and all of the community colleges in this state have served a very valuable purpose. And I wonder where we would be in this state given our socioeconomics in this state. Where would we be if the community college system had not existed, and if back in the early 1900s, if that Pearl River County Board of Education had not made the decision that they needed to open that agricultural high school that grew into this vast system that has grown into what a lot of folks have rated as the #1 community college system in the entire country. So our system of community colleges and two-year institutions of higher learning in this state, we really, really have a lot to be proud of. You know, Pearl River Community College has always been a leader in our state, obviously being the first institution, two-year institution of higher learning in our state. And when I first took a look at this job many years ago, I actually applied for this job when Dr. Ted Alexander was selected back in the 1980s, and was fortunate to be a finalist, and never dreamed that the opportunity would roll back around for me to be able to sit in the chair of the presidency here at Pearl River. But when I first looked at the job, one of the first thoughts that really occurred to me was that our institution was really uniquely positioned in the state for success. We have some challenges that other institutions perhaps don't because of our location. You know, we're kind of in the Pine Belt area and in the South Mississippi Gulf Coast area. We're kind of in an educational hub, and the Hattis, emanating off of the Hattiesburg community, where we have the University of Southern Mississippi, we have William Carey University. Just to our north, we have Jones Junior College. Just to our south, we've got Gulf Coast Community College. Just to our west, we have Southwest. And you know, on the far northern parts of our district, Copiah Lincoln Community College actually has two different campuses, one in Wesson and one in Mendenhall, that are on the fringes of our district. So we get a lot of pressure, and there is a lot of competition for students at our institution. And the thing that we have always talked with our staff about is let's don't try to compare ourselves to the other institutions. We don't need to play that game. What we need to do is to be the best institution that we can be. We need to operate at the highest level, provide quality services and programs for the people that come seeking that, and that word will get out. And so that's kind of been our basic operational philosophy, is that if we're going to do something, let's do it to the best of our ability. Otherwise, let's don't do it. And I think over the years, we've made some progress as an institution, trying to be the best that we can be and focusing internally on how we improve. But there's always a challenge for us out there. There's always competitive pressure. And I think that competitive pressure helps to make us better and helped us to develop into the institution that we have become. I see down the road a lot of changes that will be coming not only to Pearl River Community College, but also to our model for a statewide system. There are a lot of things that we have traditionally done that perhaps need examination, and that in order for us to succeed in the future, we're going to have to really take a hard look at ourselves and see the direction that the institution needs to go, just as our community college system is going to have to look at itself. Some of that's driven by funding. As I've talked about before, the state resources have not been available to us. Our counties are challenged, obviously, with all the needs that they have and the resources that are available to them. And there's a ceiling with tuition and what we can charge students. So the question becomes, and always has been, how do we provide the best product for the most economical pricing that we can find? So the funding becomes an issue for the future. Second thing is technology is just like in our day-to-day world. Here on college campuses and university campuses throughout the country, technology is driving so many changes in the direction that we're going. We've seen some enormous changes in the last decade in what we call the virtual community college. It's a system that we set up years ago in the state to offer distance learning, where a student can, using the computer and using technology devices, can obtain a college degree even by distance learning. That student base is growing and growing and growing, and where the top to that is, I don't think anybody really knows. There's another phenomena that is developing now, and that is what's called dual enrollment and dual credit for high school students. It gives an opportunity for high school students to take college courses during while they are still high school students, and we've gotten very deeply embedded with our high school systems here in the district and trying to provide that. That's given an opportunity for students to graduate with quite a few college hours from high school. And there are some that are even approaching and have enough hours to get a community college degree when they graduate from high school. Now that's quite a change in philosophy. The demands on the workforce side of things, the demands that our business and industry are placing on us and the expectation levels that they have for training and opportunities continues to rise, continues to change. One of the great challenges that we have in providing workforce development, career and technical educational experiences is being able to keep up with the equipment. Again, technology is driving that because the equipment needs that students have to be trained on world-class machinery that they're going to use in their workplace is a real challenge. And you know, business and industry is expecting us to provide them with a person who is well trained and very well skilled when they come to them. So being able to provide that equipment and the training on that equipment is a significant challenge. But the bottom line is that teaching and learning is constantly changing. It's always changed. And that the professional people that we have that are providing instructional services, whether it's here in the classroom, whether it's through distance learning, or whether it's in the workplace, those instructors that we employ at Pearl River Community College have shown the ability to change with the times, to provide different methodologies, and to provide the kinds of skills and training that the modern day workforce needs. So there will be plenty of challenges in the future, but a lot of that will be driven by funding and technology. Well, there's obviously a lot that I want to do, but I will say first and foremost that all of the jobs that I've had over the years, whether it's been as a coach and teacher in my earlier days, then as a school superintendent, then as running a statewide organization, then the presidency here at Pearl River, none of those jobs have been family-friendly jobs. And so my family has been very gracious and loving toward me and allowing me to do what I have done. And so it's time for me to spend more time doing what I should have done over the years, and that is to spend more time with them and to devote more time to my family and my grandchildren. And we're looking forward to do that. My wife and I love to travel. We always have. We'll certainly do some of that. But having lived an active life, I feel like that I will remain active. There's some things that I want to do, maybe some writing. I've got some ideas about a few things that would make good articles, I think, perhaps even a good book or two. I want to do some community service work. That's always been of great interest to me, and a lot of times just the demands on my time have not allowed me to participate in some of the community work that I would like to do. But we're looking forward to hopefully, some of my colleagues tell me that this may not happen because they've had different experiences, but one of the difficult things about this job has been that you can't control your time. A lot of people are in control of your time. So I'm looking forward to being able to gain a little better control of my time and decide those kinds of things I want to get up and do on a particular day. And you know, one of the things that I've become more aware of as time has gone on is how blessed we are to have good health. And you know, for the most part, I've had really good health over the years. Had a few challenges here lately that have required some attention, but you know, I hope and I pray that I will have the good health to be able to enjoy some things that I've not been able to do, and to experience some things that haven't been able to do in the past. So we don't have any firm, definite plans about this is what I'm moving to. I'm not moving out of this job to take another job, but we're looking forward to what the good Lord has in store for us, and what new chapter might open in our lives.